Yo, what up, bros? So, I hope everybody had a fantastic holiday. New Year's rolling up, and I wanted to get this out for the end of the year. A lot of you guys have been doing your blights, talking to Cassie and hanging out, making best friends with your new homie Tujin, and doing a lot of things that have been very profitable, such as running your infinite wing strategy. But the topic of today's video has nothing to do with any of, well, let me not say nothing, but a little bit of something to do with our homie Cassia. We love Cassia. Cassie is a fan favorite around here. She's our bee's knees, our she's wonderful, and everything that she offers is absolutely fantastic. Now, the purpose of today's video is to help guide you through a mechanic that Cassie provides us known as Blight Ravaged maps. And to do that, I've prepared a couple of Blight Ravaged maps for this video, and I wanted to talk to you and walk you through the steps that I did to help clear them as early as night one of a new league. Now, for me, if you guys were watching the stream or watching my league start, you know that by the end of night one, we were in Blight Ravaged maps. As soon as they became available, we were buying them and running them right off the bat. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to walk away from this video and say, oh my God, what's the best build for this? Or, oh my God, what's the easiest way to do this? Or, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, how do I juice this? And have a billion questions. So leave all your questions down below in the comment section. We will get to all of them. If you have any awesome build ideas, tips, tricks, or things that you do for Blight Ravage, leave them down in the comments. Anything that we can do to get information out to the players will be greatly appreciated. And I will be more than happy to relay that information to everybody alongside what I'm about to give today. Now, there are definitely good builds for blights. There are definitely better builds. There are builds that don't require anything. And the purpose of today's video is to show you that you can do Blight Ravage with very little to nothing. As long as the map rolls in your favor, towers aren't terrible. You will sometimes, always, never, possibly, maybe, kind of, sort of, possibly never fail another one of these again and be able to profit greatly. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the easiest way to do this and the most successful way to do this, not the best juicing strategy for this, as there are a lot of options that you can do with silver oils, gold oils, opalescents, blacks, crimsons, so forth and so on. But the purpose of today's video is to help walk you through the steps that I would take to clear a Blight Ravage map, not the steps to maximize your profits, and we can go over that later down the line. Now, if you've been doing your blights and you've been running your blights and you've been doing everything that you can with your blights, you've already anointed your rings. We're going to go over those again. We're going to do our Chilling Towers Freeze enemies. This is Silver Opalescent. I'll leave that down in the description below so you know how to put that on your ring. And the second ring we're going to do is the Meteor Tower Burning Ground. Now, these both are very important. To create this one, we need a violet and an indigo oil. And fairly simple. I don't know the going rates of silvers. I want to say they're like 20 C. And then opalescents are like 28. So you're roughly looking at 30 C to enchant both of your rings in total. Not too bad, but for what they give you, it's pretty wonderful. So some maps for Blight Ravage are going to be better than others. Some are going to be worse. I personally like the indoor maps. I like Underground Sea a lot. Canyon, I think, is pretty meh. Anything that's indoors, I think, is really good and has more of choke points. But for this test, it doesn't matter which map that we grab. A lot of people say, oh my God, it's map 14 or it was map 15 or it doesn't matter. Blight Ravage are all unique in the sense that they're all monster level 85. So it doesn't matter if you do a 14, 15, or 16. But for today's video, I'm going to grab an Underground Sea. I like this map a lot, and I'm going to talk to you about the oils that I would do. Personally, for me, I like going really fast when I do my blight maps. I think speed is really good for profit per hour. I like doing maps as fast as possible, and I think it's really good. But this is a more advanced strategy, and until you're comfortable with everything that you've seen in this video, I would not recommend these oils. But for me personally, I really like them, and you'll get there eventually. I would say as you feel more comfortable, throw on 1, then 2, then 3, and then go from there. Now, Blight Ravage differs from regular maps, or regular blight maps, as we can put 9 oils on these. So because we're new and we don't really have a good feel for this, we're going to keep it safe today. We're going to take triple amber oil, which is a classic and a staple here on this stream or this channel. We're going to reduce the cost of our towers by 75%, increase our pack size. Quite lovely. We're going to take sepia so our towers deal more damage this way that the fire tower kills everything quicker and we don't have to worry about a buildup of monsters and we only have to worry about the bosses. And we're going to take our clear oils to reduce the monster speed. Now, I'm a big fan of taking your blight maps and chiseling them all the way to 20%, alching them and corrupting them. There's a couple things that I want to talk about. For me, I don't want to accidentally die right now while I'm doing this. I don't want to waste portals, so I want to check a little bit of my mods. Normally, I wouldn't even look at the mods, but for me, I don't want to deal with LE Reflect. I can be Reflect immune, but that's a little bit of a pain. Not something I want to do right now. So when I'm rolling my maps, I'm looking for something very specific. I want a good quantity, a good rarity, a good pack size like you would do with any map to maximize my profits. But I don't want, and what I'm looking for right now, there are two mods that I don't want to deal with ever. The first one is monsters can't be stunned, which means that your physical towers or your stun towers don't work. And the second one is monsters don't move below base value. That will stop your chilling towers. So we see this one, 101 quantity, 48 rarity, 85 monster pack size. We double check the mods, no problems, no issues. We're gonna corrupt and hope, goes unidentified. We're good to go. Throw this in here. Realize I don't have any fragments. I'm gonna come grab some fragments because we're doing a Blight Ravage and we want to put as much juice as possible. We put our sacrifice fragments, we check, everything looks good to go. We open our map. Now, like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna take this and we're gonna talk about everything that we're normally gonna do. And I'll walk you through the step-by-step of what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start the event and I'm gonna wait for my lanes to spawn. Sometimes you get unlucky. And sometimes towers are very far away and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. In our case, we got a little lucky. We're going to notice right here, this is a nice little choke point. And we want to stay within a screen or two of the pump. So we see the pumps right there. So I feel like if I come out here, the pump goes away and I'm not close enough. So I'm going to build here. I'm going to build a seismic tower. I'm going to bring this to level 3. I'm not going to go past 3. I'm going to build a chilling tower. I'm going to bring this also level 3, and I'm going to build a Meteor tower here and an empowering tower here. The Meteor tower goes all the way to level 4, and this comes to level 3, and then we're going to start our event. Now, we've talked about this extensively. We know which lanes are on. As you see, this one turned from gray to yellow, and we see the mobs are spawning. Once again, over here, just for safety's sake, I'm going to build the same trifecta of towers, or quad, whatever the word is for 4. And I'm going to build some towers. From here, this little section of our map should be relatively safe and we should be secure and not have to worry about it. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, what build is really good for this? If I want to build towers and deal damage, what's really good? I like Ignite builds a lot, or anything that explodes I think is really good. So now we know that this little section right here is nice and, closed off, and I'm going to come work on this section. This is a nice little choke. Again, we see intersecting lines here for the lanes, and we're going to do the exact same thing we just did. We're going to build our empowering tower to 3, this here, this, as high up as we can get it. And we see already these mobs are getting stuck. Looks really good. Same thing with up here. So those mobs are dying. Perfect. Looking really good. So I'm going to build another set of towers over here just to be on the safe side, to cover all of my bases, because sometimes you just never know. And you don't want to really be caught off guard. Blight Ravage are a lot harder. The loot scaling is a lot better. And we want to make sure that we can minimize the chances of losing this. So building a couple of extra towers is not the end of the world. If anybody yells at you for building more towers, you don't need them. It's the holidays. Go away. We build a little extra here. It's okay. We're not professionals. Oh, we pretend. So these towers right here just turned on. This lane right now just turned on, and we see that it comes this way into our little cluster here, so we don't have to worry too much yet. I would like to get these towers right here rolling first just to be safe. Now, we're not going to build anything here, and I'll talk about that in a second. So once again, I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to build my little trifecta of towers. And we're good to go. Now, looking at the resistance types here, we see that none except this lane right here is immune to minions. So just as a little precaution, I'm going to build 2 scout towers here. These are usually pretty good for bosses. And if by some means, which happens, a boss decides to walk his little butt cheeks up to this pump, I'm going to run around him like it's the 4th of July and pray to God that my marathon running skills and dodging skills, because I've been playing a lot of Sanctum, going to be good enough to stop him in his tracks and let that scout tower do its thing. Now, we're good 3 minutes into this already, and I feel pretty confident to say that this map is a success, and we don't have too much to worry about. Things do happen. All the lanes aren't on yet. Things break. mobs get through, weird stuff happens, and so far, it's looking pretty spicy. You know what I mean? Now, I know this is one example of a map, and this map looks pretty good. I will do another map after this one, and I will put a chapter in there. So if you want to skip ahead to that, you guys can skip ahead to that. That map will utilize the teal oils, and you'll see a big difference between running the map, how I'm running it right now, and what it looks like when all the mobs are ready to go. Now, I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite builds is anything that explodes or anything that ignites because it spreads, and I think that's really good, and I'll show you why. So see this pack of mobs right here? If I just kill one of them, okay, maybe it won't, but there it goes. It explodes all the way down the line. And as your character gets more powerful and you get more gear and you start working on your explodey characters or your ignite characters, you could do the same thing where you could just explode down a chain of mobs and you don't have to really worry. Having the towers is a good fall safe, but also being able to do the damage and explode is really good. So something to consider. Obliteration 1 does this. The Orias End Flask does this. Exploding on a chest does this. There's a lot of ways to get explode for your character. Impulsa does it, and we can take advantage of the high health count or the high health pool that mobs have. So just something to think about if you're scaling any type of explode that will help you with Blight Ravage. There are many good builds to do this. You don't even need a good build to do this. You can do this on any character that you want, and it's pretty good. Now, a lot of people back in the day are really upset that epidemiology was removed, but I kind of like that it was removed. I don't need to worry about my Atlas passive points. I don't need to do any of that. I can just open up a Blight Ravage map, build some towers, put on a movie on my other monitor, record a YouTube video, do anything that I need to do and not have to worry. And then at the end of it, I just go collect some loot. Pretty simple, pretty easy. I can go make a sandwich right now. I don't have to worry. And it's just a fantastic way to like secure some loot. The only difference is sometimes you need to worry about these little guys coming to kill you. But if you have capped chaos resistance, really good regen, it all becomes things that you never have to worry about, as these things won't kill you in the long run. And you can see all of our bosses are almost dead, except these guys right here. These guys are dying, so they'll be dead in a minute. And then all we have to really do is worry about is cleaning up the little stragglers. But before we go running around and start cleaning up the stragglers, we really want these bosses to die, as they become the biggest problem. Because if one boss gets through, it's about half your pump's life total. And if two bosses get through, you die. Or if one boss gets through and then some stragglers get through, your pump will explode and you will lose. Now, something really interesting to note about loot when it comes to looting a Blight Ravage map. All of the bases outside of the pump are eye level 85. At the beginning of the league, this is very relevant as people are looking for bases to craft with, and something very good to know. So keep that in mind, that when you're looting Blight Ravage maps, looking at the bases or looking at rings or helmets or jewelry or belts or anything like that, a really good odds at the beginning of the league, that a lot of this gear is, you know, pretty good. Now, my filter is set to very strict right now because I'm later in the league. I know exactly what I want to look for. I know exactly what I want to have filtered, but normally I would have my filter a lot more relaxed, so to be able to find a lot of things. Also, really early in the league, if you can get your hand on Blight Ravage maps and complete them, which, like I said, we were doing this on night 1, it's a really good source of red tier maps really early in the league to get the ball rolling. If you're only going to sit in Blight Ravage maps, you could sell all your red tier maps and make a good killing. You don't need to be in red tier maps to run Blight Ravage maps. You only need to buy them off the market. Now, we were buying them at night 1 for 30C a piece, and we were making just insane profit if you just look at like red maps falling. Selling red maps on night 1 was just an amazing source of income. Even now, selling red maps is still a really good source of income because a lot of people want to buy maps. Also, there's a lot of people out there rolling flasks, so you'll find a lot of really good random high level flasks that you can roll if that's your thing, or you could sell to your friends that are rolling flask, and you'll also get a ton of oils. Now, as I mentioned, what we're doing right now is just to guarantee that we're clearing the map. And like I said, a lot of the loot that we would normally see is currently being hidden because my loot filter is extremely strict. But you see, like, we have some good gloves, we have some good boots, we have a bunch of lower base oils. I saw some jewelers, some transmutes. These are all things that earlier on in the league, too, you'd be very interested in picking up. I know a lot of players who are still collecting jewelers' orbs, myself included. There's a golden oil. Oh, let's go. Perfect. We got that exalted orb earlier. it's just a lot of free loot for very, very, very little investment. Now, to get Blight Ravage maps, one of the easiest ways to do them is to run your blights. And I farm my Blight Ravage maps by doing my normal blighted maps with triple teal oils and burning through them as fast as humanly possible, because I think that's the best way to do it. Now, look, we got an Elder map, a Conqueror map. This is what, 35? This is 20. This is like what, 15? A couple of Crimson Temple maps. Like, all in all, this has been an extremely profitable map. You know, no divine orbs or anything, but like if you just look at like the cost of a Blight Ravage map right now, it's about 15C. We got it, an Exalt 4 Chaos, a Veiled Chaos, a Phoenix map, and this, 2 of the, the Val Temples. For the 5 minutes we were in here, it's really, really, really good. And I think a lot of people overlook that fact a lot. And, some random div cards, some stacked decks, 16 stacked decks. It's, it's not bad. Oh, so now what we'll do is we'll empty our inventory really quick. Then I'll make sure to make a little note, put a little chapter so you guys can skip ahead. You don't have to watch any of this. We'll open up these stack decks later on stream, because after I do this and edit it and get it out, I'm going to be doing a stream, and I'm going to be doing a canyon map. Now, I mentioned earlier, I don't like the outdoor maps. I think the outdoor maps are a lot harder, and I think you should probably avoid them if you can. And I will show you why. Now, this map, I'm going to do the way that I would normally do it. I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have it, I'm going to have the monster spawn 90% faster, so the map will be about 2 minutes. The monster movement speed we're going to reduce, and we're going to reduce the cost of building. I do not recommend trying your maps like this right away. I would say get a good feel for the map that you're trying to do before you do it, and then give it a real try. I'm going to do the same thing like last map. I'm going to look for a good map with a good quant. Maybe. There you go. Good pack size, good quant. Double checking everything. And then we're going to corrupt it. Looks good. Let's give it a whirl. Got our fragments in there. And we're good to go. Now, if you'd like me to talk about oils that are more profitable, or ways that we were doing things, or things that we tested, please down below in the comments, let me know. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. So as you can see right now, not a lot of choke points. We're out in the open. Things are a little bit weirder. And I'm going to come right over here, and I'm going to start the same way that we did last time. We're going to build our trifecta of towers. We don't have room for an empowering tower yet, as I would like to get a damaging tower out. And we see right here, mobs are already spawning. So I'm going to use this choke point to hopefully cover all of my bases, just to kind of get started. Now, this is where things get sketchy. If I hang out too far here, towers on the other side are going to stop working. But because these mobs are going to be spawning so fast, I need to get, my butt in gear. So I mentioned earlier that, we were waiting for an empowering tower spot to spawn. So we have that right here. We're going to build that right now. We're going to build our Meteor towers. We're going to build our empowering towers. We're going to come up here. We're going to check everything. Things are looking good. Now we have a nice little choke point over here. And we have to be quick when you do these maps, because these mobs spawn quick. They do not give you a chance to rest. As you see, we're already down to like a minute. And we need to take advantage of the fact that mobs are spawning as fast as possible, and we're killing them right away and just building a bunch of towers. Now, here's where having a stronger build comes into play, as we can take advantage of like our ignites. We can take advantage of our explosions. We can take advantage of all kinds of little things to help just clear it. On night 1, I wouldn't be doing teal oils, even with how confident I am as a Blight player, just due to the fact that things happen, and I would rather not risk it in any way, shape, or form, and I would do these as safe as possible. Though by the end of night 1, morning 2, I was definitely, see, look at that guy. That guy got through. Like, what the heck? How did you get through? What did you do, sir? Sir, this is a Wendy's, sir. Please, sir, I need you to relax a little bit. This guy, and here's where we do our little dance. We're gonna sit in front of this guy and hope he doesn't kill us. There we go. He's dead. Nothing to worry about. How those guys are getting through and is beyond me, and that's one of the crazy realities of Blight maps is sometimes mobs don't care. Sometimes they just have immunities because that's just the nature of the game, and welcome to rares. Rares sometimes just can roll, cannot be stunned. Rares can roll, cannot, you know, all kinds of mods that they're just going to be like, LOL, XD, was nice knowing you, homie. And then you're just in a bad spot where the mob just doesn't care. And he's just going, bro. He's just going. So if you lose maps, it's normal. You're human. Things happen. Don't be upset. Don't let it get to you. And yes, bad tower spawns happen all the time. They happen to me. They happen to you. And the way that you deal with bad tower spawns is you just have to build and run around a lot. You know? Everybody wants to, you know, sit as stationary and as close to the pump as possible. It is definitely the best strategy. But sometimes you just, you know, you got to move it, man. You got to do a little bit of back and forth. You got to do a little running around. And I know some of you are saying, well, you know, the timer's over and the map's not clear. And I thought this was supposed to be quicker. And this is going the exact same way it would go if all the mobs were spawning slower. Essentially, by the 5-minute marker now, I can actually probably time this in the video and like check this out. But yeah, by the time we would normally be clearing a map, so 5 minutes plus a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes for the looters or the stragglers, you know, now we're at the 5-minute marker roughly and everything's dead and we can just start looting. And hopefully if you get lucky, you get a Stranglegrass. We actually saw one on night 1 on stream, which was insane. I think I was one of the first few people, if not the first person to have one. And I thought that was really cool. Stranglegrass was pretty expensive. You can get a pretty penny for it. These maps are easy enough, and it's a nice little reward that you can just get from just, you know, hanging out doing your Blight Ravage maps. And I do recommend having all of these oils available on your loot filter, because they're pretty good. I also really recommend, you know, double checking all of these jewels. These are all eye level 85. I'm going to come back after this video. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to double check a lot of those. A lot of those jewels this league are worth a pretty penny. Thanks to the Poison SRS. So if you're not up to date on that, I would come back and do some research and double check. I would pick them all up, throw them in a one divine tab, and if anybody pings you immediately for it, start double checking it, because that's what I'm going to do. But right now, my goal is to just kind of like loot this as fast as possible and just kind of like show you, you know, just how this looks overall. But yeah, that's it. It's just as simple as that. Now, if you have troubles with your Blight maps, your Blight Ravage maps, you don't know what's going on, and you need a helping hand, feel free to stop by the Discord. There's a lot of people who are doing Blight all the time. We'd love to help you. You can ask your questions down in the comments down below. I do my best to respond to everybody as quick as I can. Sometimes, you know, with it being the holidays and other things going on, it gets a little difficult here and there to respond. But usually we're pretty active and pretty readily available. Otherwise, you can come over to my Twitch stream. I'm live pretty much all weekend long. I'm live throughout the week. I have a schedule posted in the Twitch stream that you'll be able to find. And, you know, I'm going to get this video out. I'm going to go live now. So if you have the chance, come watch the video and then head on over and I'll see you there in a little bit. Thank you for watching this Blight Ravage tutorial. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate at all to ask. I will be around. But for now, if I don't see you, have a happy new year and a happy holidays. So long, farewell, goodbye, friends.